As you guys all know, that the Patreon page is where I answer your law of attraction questions every single week. We all know that this is not coaching, so we are still having the special on coaching where we do have a promotion. So just the reminder is in the welcome that I'm not able to give action plans or as well identify your blocks, because this is a question and answer for us to be able to give you an action plan on what to do in your particular situation, as well as to help you identify your blocks. Then one-on-one coaching is the way to go. Okay, so with the Patreon here, it's questions and answers. We can't actually do coaching because we need to chat with you to find out what your thoughts are, because your thoughts what creates your reality, as well as our courses. The identifying your blocks, you will have a course to help you identify your blocks. But again, if you want the action plan and you want to find out what your blocks are, then that's what the one-on-one coaching is. So now that we're all on the same page, let's get started on your questions this week. A reminder to everybody, this group is growing, so we do one question per person. That way we can get through everybody's question. So let's take a look at the questions we have this week. I hope everybody's had a great week and has had some success. I intend it every single week that it is going to happen. So let's take a look here. So we've got a total of 24 questions today, and let's get started. So the first question that we have is, it's going to be Sarah's question. So what time is it now? It is 1 minute 50 seconds. So 1 minute 50 seconds. I answered your question. That way we can find it in the video. I do know what time I answered your question on. That way you can find it. So Sarah's question is, hi, Amanda. Love your vibes and content. Thank you, Sarah. I love yours too. I'm currently working on manifesting a new relationship with a person I haven't met yet in my 3D world. Okay. People often ask me why I am single or look at me pitiful because I've been single for a long time now. Okay. So you create that right there. You create that they're looking at you pitifully by, basically saying that they are. Okay. So if you don't want anyone to pity you, then never say anybody's pitying you, because everyone is you pushed out and you get what you project onto people. Okay. So if you assume that they're pitying you, then they're going to be. Okay. If you don't want that, then you need to change that story. I have crushes here and there, and I've had guys like me, but not enough that I wanted to pursue a relationship with them for various reasons. Negative mindset. Okay. Well, I mean, and you can be picky and have what you want. I mean, it's your reality, right? So, I mean, I would probably look at it like, oh, maybe, you know what? I was like, I didn't create that one's not quite perfect, and just sure, I'm a creator. I'm going to create the next one perfect. Nothing wrong with that. Okay. I have little in common with them. That's a story you create, to name a few. Okay. So my question is, what do I tell people who ask me why I'm single? Should I tell them my partner is on his way to me now? But what if they ask where he is? What's the best response? Because it makes me feel uncomfortable and bad when they ask me about my single status. So, I think here it's about not feeling like there's something wrong with being single. What I would say is, I'm waiting for the right guy to come along, the perfect guy. He's out there somewhere and he's going to start coming into my life. I would straight up say that that's what is happening in your current reality. And it's creating that he is also going to be coming into your life. So they're like, hey, you're single. Why? And I'd be like, well, because you know what? I'm waiting for the perfect guy. He's going to come around anytime now. I know it's going to happen. He's out there for me and he's going to show up. That actually, I like that. That one's actually pretty good. So I would go with that as long as that feels comfortable. That is living, in the end, so to speak. Okay. Next question, 4 minutes and 30 seconds. So 4 minutes and 30 seconds. We've got this question here is Rachel's. So what are your thoughts on Ho'oponopono, forgiveness meditation? I find when I repeat the prayer in my mental diet and think of it, if I'm about to go off worrying in my mind, everything is more harmonious and goes exactly as I want. Yeah, I mean, anytime that we're focusing on forgiveness and love, we're focusing on what we want. I've done Ho'oponopono. We learned it when I was in school doing NLP, and hypnotherapy and stuff. And yeah, no, it works. We did a visualization where we visualized forgiving people. And yeah, because really, I mean, that's what it's about is, when we forgive, we let go of the old story and we start creating a new story. We move on from it. So yeah, if it's making you feel good and it's working, then keep doing it and add in obviously your other intentions with it. Okay. Um, uh, 5 minutes and 40 seconds. Okay, so 5 minutes and 40 seconds. We are going to answer Tammy's question. Hi, Amanda. Thank you for everything that you're doing. You are so welcome. I do have a question. As I understand it, we can literally create absolutely anything we want. Uh-huh. Does this mean we can create beautiful connection with somebody? Absolutely. I have an amazing relationship. Andrew and I get along amazingly. We're, like we never fight. It's perfect. So yeah, you can create that. I've had boyfriends in the past where it's been like World War III, right? So, it's definitely something that we choose to have if we want to have it, right? Can we recreate having chemistry or an instantaneous attraction with someone where you both really feel it? Yeah, you can. I call it the ping. I love that. I love that. Yeah, I intend to have the ping with so and so. So, when you see someone and you both immediately feel like that wow feeling, is it possible to recreate? Okay, because you've created it to exist to begin with, because you are the God of your reality, you create. So, yeah, definitely start doing intentions that you're going to feel that ping with them, right? I like that one. I intend to feel the ping between me and Andrew. I like that. Thank you again for all your advice and support. You're so welcome. And I hope that you're keeping super safe. You too during these times. Yes, thank you, Tammy. I intend that everybody's keeping safe as well. And I intend that everything's going to go back to normal very soon because I'm the God of my reality and that's going to happen. So 7 minutes and 40 seconds. So what do we've got here? 7 minutes. 7 minutes and 40 seconds. We have Shavita's question. So we actually didn't publicize this video though today, Sonia. So it's only the people in the Patreon group. So this is Sonia's question. So Sonia's question is it better to go to the end or do mini intentions? So how do we make sure the bridge of events is smooth and lovely? What are some good signs that you're manifesting correctly? Okay, so first of all, signs don't exist. There are no such thing. Okay, there's signs are only after you look back. It's a mini manifestation is what a sign is. So, but I mean, if you're really looking for something to judge how well your manifestation is going, it's how you feel. Okay, if you feel good, then good. If you don't feel good, then there's something you need to change. Also, could you please address why we shouldn't manifest text from people? Oh, I never said that. And I'll explain why in a second. As the God of my reality, I want to be chased in text. I'm not always taking the initiative first. Okay, so what we're looking at here, Sonia, is basically living from the end. Okay, so living from the end is having this, okay, question. If I had what I want, what would my thoughts be? I actually just did a video on the main channel about this a few days ago. Okay, still every day. So you need to start intending that you're texting now. You would be having dinner together. So start intending that you're having dinner now. I mean, me and Andrew have date nights. So, when I first met him, I intended that we were dating and we still have our date nights. Okay, so anything that you would do when you already had what you want, you start intending now. And that's actually living from the end. Okay, so you just say, okay, well, you know what? Yeah, he chases me. He texts me. He's crazy about me. He constantly calls me all day long. You can create that. There's nothing wrong with manifesting a text. Now, the problem is when we get hung up on the text and we make the lack of text mean rejection. That's where the problem comes in. That's why a lot of these coaches, and I assume they say don't manifest a text because sometimes we get too hung up on when a text doesn't come to make it mean rejection rather than just focusing on what we want. Okay. But if you want to be chased, then you start, creating that picture. He texts me every day. He's constantly chasing me. We talk all the time because you're living from that end of being chased. Okay. Now, bridge of events, smooth and lovely, is you keep focusing on anything that happens. No matter what it is, you make it mean that it's getting you towards that end goal, okay? Even if the guy gives you one-word answers, okay, you have to go, wait a minute, hold on, no, I'm living from the end. You know what? He's going to start, giving me, longer answers. He's going to start initiating the conversation. Okay. You still have to make it mean that he wants to be with you. Okay. So a big part of this, okay, is you're initiating the text first. And if you're making that mean that he doesn't want to be with you, then we're coming from lack. We're living in the world of rejection. We're living from the end of rejection. So we have to make even the fact that we send the text first mean that he wants to be with us and he wants to chase us. Okay. Because that's living from the end of he wants to be with you. Because if he was chasing you, sure, you would send him a text once in a while. Why not? Right? Because it's about the communication. Okay. So you want to live from nothing's wrong and he wants to be with me. Okay. And everything that you do is an assumption. So you assume that you text him first. That's going to make him want to chase you. That's going to create a bridge of events of him chasing you. Okay. Does that make sense? So yeah, I never say don't manifest a text. I do say don't get hung up on the lack of something making it mean rejection, because everything is empty and meaningless and you create the meaning of it. Okay. So 5. Okay. So hello, Amanda. I hope you're doing well. I am. My question is a follow-up just to make everything run together right. Me and Andrew were just talking about how we need to have like basically like a calendar that says the day of the week. Tell you. But the funny thing is we both work from home anyway. And so this is not really any different than what we did before. So I don't know why we need it now. I guess it's just the whole mentality of it. But I intend all this is going to end soon, right? So you mentioned that we should write an intention for everything in our life, which I get. However, how often do we read the list, especially since some of these lists can be quite long? Oh, thank you. You're welcome. And much appreciated. Okay, I need a quick sip of water. Oh, I love this question. So, okay, so these lists I'm talking about, okay, so what I do, okay, is I will write my complaints out and then I'll write it into intentions, okay? And there'll always be one main intention. The main intention in a relationship would be like, look, I intend, for now that list I may review once or twice. The fact is once you write out that list of intentions, that sort of helps the static in your head, okay? Because then when you go throughout your day, okay, every time you think about Gerry, you're going to say your main intention, that he's over his baggage and ready to propose to you because you're good enough. And then you may find that you have another thought coming like, but he said no before. No, you know what? Everyone's being pushed out. He changes his mind. So you just kind of roll with it and listen to yourself. The fact that you've reprinted, like you pre-wrote out these intentions, already sort of laid the pathway once with that list, okay? So you can read that list once or twice a day if you want. You don't need to read it repeatedly. The important thing that you need to do is to catch your thoughts, okay? So I intend to get a seat by the fireplace. Okay, so you will go to the restaurant and you will get a seat by the fireplace, but you're going to be stuck, in the wait list, because intending you get a seat by the fireplace didn't actually change the manifestation of there being a wait list and you waiting in line. Okay, so thoughts are things you put into a positive statement of what you want. Okay. So, basically, if you plan out everything in your life, every area, then you go about your life. So you're walking around, you're like, what's Gerry doing? Oh, I texted him. I intend for him to text me back, because I'm good enough and he wants to be with me. Okay. And then you're like, that job. No, I'm going to get that job because I deserve it. Right. And then all of a sudden, a bill comes in the mail and you're like, I got to pay my cell phone bill. No, there's more than enough money to pay the bills. Money comes from me in every different direction. Okay. So once you get clear on everything you want, you'll find that sticking to a mental diet throughout the day will be a lot easier. Okay. It's discipline, discipline, discipline. Staying on a mental diet is like doing exercises. The more you go to the gym, the more you practice, the easier it gets. Okay. So at first it can be quite difficult, but once you keep practicing, it'll get a lot easier. Okay. So 15 minutes, we'll go with 16 minutes. 16 minutes. So we're at 16 minutes. What do we got? We have Vanessa's question. How do I get my specific person to tell me he loves me and only me? That he's never loved anyone like he loves me. Basically, how do I get my specific person to open up and tell me words of affirmation? In the past, he has always been very open with his feelings for past girlfriends, and I just want him to be open with me. I've been through a horrible past where we broke up while I was pregnant, and then he got married, but somehow after They're divorced. We got back together. We love each other and want it to work, but there's a lot of past issues, such as me thinking about how he left me for the girl he married. What are intentions I can do to cement my place in thinking, believing, and assuming that I'm the only one he ever wanted to be with and wants to be with? Okay. I'd love for us to be married one day. Thank you so much, Amanda, for your teachings. Okay. So, Vanessa. Okay. So, in order for me to actually find your blocks, I need to sit down and chat with you to find out your blocks. So, I can tell you how to find your blocks in this, on this live. Okay. So this goes to everybody. How you find your blocks, okay, is you take a look at what you actually want. Okay. So in your situation, you actually want, for him to be open and to say certain things to you. So get clear on what you want for a relationship and what you want the relationship to look like. Okay. Once you get clear on that, okay, then we take a look back and we go, okay, so what is not jiving with what you want? Okay, well, you know what? He's not telling me how much he loves me every day, and I want that. Okay, great, no problem. So then we start taking all our complaints and those are your blocks, okay, all your complaints, whatever you think about your situation, and you start crossing them off one by one, changing them into positive intentions. And then you focus on those new positive intentions. I guess the really big question is what are you making it mean? I mean, you've got to let go of the past. You have to get over the past. So there's some story that you have about him divorcing and going to somebody else. And basically you're making it mean that he doesn't want to be with you of some way. There's some thoughts that you're having that are basically harboring a horror story of rejection. Okay. So, we've got to work through that past. You can do that with revision. I've done a video, it's posted in this forum about how to revise a past situation. So how you would revise it is change what you make it mean, So, an example would be, as I remember years ago, I was with this guy and we broke up. Okay. And then, we ended up getting back together. Well, he broke up with me, but I didn't say, oh, well, that's because, he rejected me. I used to, but then I revised it to look at, the breakup needed to happen. We both grew up and our relationship was better when we got back together. And it was. So you've got to revise it in a way that is in line with your end goal. Okay. Yeah. So that's what you're looking at doing here. Okay. So you also want to start writing down and focusing already on what you want. Script out what you want. What does your relationship look like? What do you want him to say? What do you want him to do? Start focusing on that as well. But you've got to clean out this old story. Okay. There's an old story of rejection here that needs to be revised. Okay. And, if you would like help revising it, then maybe take a look into what the breakup means, okay? And putting a new spin on it, that it's not that he rejected you, that there was some other reason, and make that reason to make you feel good, okay? So basically you want to revise it where you look back at the past and you feel good about whatever happened. And you're like, okay, no, you know what? It all worked out because it had to. But then again, you know what? You also just want to focus on what you want, because as long as you're always focusing on whatever happened, then you're just going to remake it happen, and you're going to constantly feel those feelings. Okay. So we always want to look and focus on what we want rather than what we don't want. We want to let go of the past. We want to just totally let go of it and start patching and working on what we've got now. Okay. I intend that helps. Okay. So we've got 20 minutes and 40 seconds here. So 20 minutes and 40 seconds, we have Danielle's question. Danielle says about recreating people. I've been getting my specific person back, and I want him to tell me how badly he wants to be with me. So I've been intending how he wants to be with me and how he'll do everything to be with me. He's single and he would leave anyone to be with me because I'm good enough. However, I have the thought that he will come up that says, well, he's not going to say that unless he's single. He's not the type of person that would profess his love for you or tell you he'll do anything to be with you if he's in another relationship. Because of that, I've been intending that he's single and the third party is out of the picture with someone that is better for her. But do you have any tips on getting him to express his love for me, even though he's still with the third party? I would just intend that I'm the only one for him and I'm good enough for him to tell me, and he'll leave anyone for me. Well, you've got to battle your thoughts, and you have to think it's possible for him to professes love for you, even though he's with somebody else. Okay. And, if you're going to take your past experience of knowing who he is and say, well, he's not that type of person, then that's what you're creating. You're making that assumption. So you're going to create that. So, I mean, you're going to have to battle those thoughts with a mental diet to start to shift that if you're going to get what you want. So your whole entire, end result right until he's single and he's not that type of person. Okay. So, those two statements have to be changed with the mental diet. Okay. Now, that's the big part of it. Now you do want to, just focus on the end result of being in a relationship and that he wants to be with you and skip straight to that as well. I guess the question is, right, are you really attached to this happening and why are you attached to this happening? A big part of creating is detaching from what we have. So basically attachment to something is going, look, you know what, I'm not going to be happy with my life until I get this. So it's basically you're attached to something when it's fulfilling some sort of emotional need that you have. I'm not going to feel good enough until he does this. So we've got to create now. No, you know what? I'm happy with my life the way it is. I'm good enough. He loves me. He wants to be with me and he's going to profess his love to me. Okay. And I think there's just a lot of overthinking going here too, right? I mean, basically, if I was you, I'd be like, I would think he's not going to say that unless he's single. I would think, yeah, right. Everyone's me pushed out. He's totally going to say that. In fact, they're already broken up and he wants to be with me and he's going to tell me that. End of story, brain, and that's what that's what the mental diet in my head would be. Right. So you've got to get yourself to that point. Right. So, the thought he's not the type of person that would profess his love to you or tell you he'd do anything to be with you if he's in another relationship. My thought would be like, well, everyone's me pushed out and you know what? They've already broken up. So he's going to tell me that. He's going to tell me that now because it's already done because everyone's me pushed out. My thoughts that's what I'm creating. I love my life the way it is now. I'm good enough. I feel good, but I also would like to create this as well. And Buddy is going to come tell me how much he loves me. Okay. So I think a little bit of detaching needs to happen here as well. And that goes for everybody. I mean, if you are, looking to create something and it's not happening and you're doing your intentions, we want to see what are your thoughts. We want to start detaching from them, detaching from your reality by creating that you are good enough, right? So big part of it is the detachment, right? Not making the lack of something mean that you're not good enough. Okay. 24 minutes and 43 seconds. We're going to answer Scarlett's question. Hi, Amanda. I'm wondering if you have a strong mental diet throughout the process and you only had positive thoughts and then a negative one pops up, but then you cancel it with a bunch of positive thoughts. Does that one negative thought ruin your whole process and manifest? No, of course not. No. I mean, it's not. Nothing's linear, right? Nothing's linear. So, I mean, basically, right? Like, okay, I intend, Gerry wants to go to the park. Gerry wants to go to the park. Gerry wants to go to the park. Then I would think, oh, Gerry's probably going to be busy, right? Then I'm like, no, Gerry's going to go to the park. Then I phone up Gerry. I'm like, hey, Gerry, you want to go to the park? And he's like, yeah, I do. Well, no, I'm busy actually. And then you're like, okay, no problem. But he's like, actually, no, change my mind. I'm going to come. Like, that's how it'll look. If that. I mean, sometimes if it's not a dominant negative thought, it won't even show up at all. I could say right now that, like Gerry's planning to leave me, like Andrew wants to leave me, but I mean, come on, he doesn't, right? My story that he absolutely loves me and is never going to leave me is so strong that one little thought isn't actually going to ruin it. Okay. So it's the same thing, right? Like when we have, a negative story, one positive thought isn't going to change it. It takes a persistence of a bunch of thoughts to make a change. Now, of course, if the one negative thought you have is dominant and very believable to you, and the minute you have that thought evokes like a physical reaction of a negative feeling in you, then yeah, it's probably going to manifest. Sorry, it is, right? But if it's just one little thought that you can easily go, that's silly, it's not going to happen, then it's probably not going to show up. Okay. But the whole point is don't be scared of your thoughts showing up. Okay. Observe your reality. Okay. Observe it. Learn how your thoughts create and how they show up in your reality. I mean, and that's the biggest thing that makes me successful is I just sit back and I just watch what shows up and I just avoid reacting to it because I'm like, yeah, I probably created it. Even if I don't remember, I'm like, yeah, I probably created that somewhere. I'm like, great, laugh it off, make opposite intentions, move on. Right. And, as long as I don't make a big deal about things, things will shift. Sometimes I have negative thoughts. They don't even show up. Okay. So it's not about being all positive. It's about just focusing on what you want. Right. And if you do slip up and, have a moment where you spiral, then you just go back to it. I mean, I'm going to be honest. Okay. I did built a company and a YouTube channel. Now, there's been nights that, yeah, I'd spiral out of control. And some days it'd be for days on end, I'd be spiraling out of control. I mean, did that slow down my progress a little bit? Probably. But I mean, did it stop it? No. Did it wreck everything? Absolutely not, right? I just got back on it and I just got right back on top of my thoughts again. And, what, and that's just the way we do it. We just keep persisting. And then pretty soon, you realize that in the scheme of things, a few little negative thoughts really don't make much of a difference when you're putting so much focus on what you want. Okay. And then you realize that, how they show up, and you realize that you've created them, that they don't even make a big deal anymore. In fact, you look at them and you're like, wow, it still works because that showed up. Right. So it's about not making it a bad thing. Right. So 28 minutes, and we are on another question here. You guys have excellent questions this week, by the way. Lots of fun answering these ones. Okay, so Courtney's questions. Hi, Amanda. I've been making great progress. Love it, especially after your recent video, specifically the 3 tips to speed up your manifestation. I know, I get brilliant in some of those videos, I might say myself. Sometimes I watch them and I'm like, who was talking? Was that really me? I don't know. I wonder sometimes how I come up with these things. I just intend, and it's like, So I started doing those meta intentions, and I had that calm feeling of knowing for a day or so. At work last weekend, my specific person actually talked to me. Awesome. He would call me, nice, went out of his way to help me, and even flirted with me. I had a couple conversations with a few people since then, and the story has started to change. Excellent. Normally, they would reflect back to me the old story that he's so rude, blah, 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 blah. Now they're saying things like, obviously, he still loves you. He's probably just trying to figure things out right now. That's a huge testament to your switching your thoughts and your mental diet. Like, people are you pushed out, they're going to reflect back things, and look at, they're already reflecting back difference. Okay, so good for you. So I consider the recent events a mini breakthrough. Absolutely. Still no communication outside of work, but I know my thoughts great. If he wants to talk to me at work, obviously he wants to talk to me at home too. Of course he does. Of course he does. You guys are me pushed out. I say he does. Okay. Anyways, I realized another block that I've had that may have created our fight that caused our breakup. I've always had a story that I'm too much to handle and that people think I'm annoying. Oh, no. It always ends with pushing people away. Yeah, no. Change those thoughts, please. I think you're a blessing to have in this group. So not everybody. So I've been intending that he can handle me. And in fact, I'm perfect for him. Yes, and everybody else in the world, you definitely are. I'm exactly what he wants and needs. Also, that previously he was just overwhelmed by his feelings. Looking back, he was trying to move in with his sister. He had a lot going on. Maybe more than I could see. Okay, edit. I'm still intending that he is understanding and emotionally intelligent. Yeah, good. Another thing, his sister and I are best friends since toddlers. Adorable, love it. Have been hanging out every week. Last week, we also had a conversation like the one listed above, and she said lately he seems depressed, sad. Okay, so you can start changing that. I take it that he's missing me, but I don't think that's living from the end. No, it's not. I keep telling myself that it's all inevitable, that the relationship has to happen. I'm not going anywhere, and neither are his feelings for me. Okay. So I guess my question is what kind of affirmation should I be doing to overcome the feeling that I'm too much to handle? And so am I on the right track with the affirmations? I've been texting him once outside of work, but then he doesn't respond. So I assume he's busy or maybe saw it and forgot to respond. I've also been sending funny videos I find on TikTok. Love it. He opens them and watches all of my Snapchat stories. Surely communication outside of work is around the corner. Thank you for everything you do. I'm so grateful for the guidance and motivation you provide on a daily, weekly basis. You're welcome. Aw, and you watch every video to keep you on the right track. You and my mom both watch every single video. Thank you for that. So, all right. So, okay, basically, right, you want to change, basically, how do you overcome the feeling that you're too much to handle? Okay, so what do you want to hear from people that's going to make you feel good? What do you want to hear from people that's going to make you feel like they want to be around you? Okay, so what do you want to create in your reality? Okay, so you can create in your reality that people tell you that they love being around you, that they're easy, that you're easy to hang out with, that everything is free flowing with you, right? So you want to start creating that. I mean, basically, right? Whatever your story is, okay, that you're thinking that you're too much to handle, that's what you want to change. Okay, so again, there's no like one affirmation like this is the one. It's going to depend on why do you think you're too much to handle? Like, where is the story coming from? Like, what is the story about? Is it because you're too happy all the time? Like, what's creating that? Okay, you can easily say, I intend for people to feel good around me, and I intend for people to love being around me. So what do you want to create is what you want to focus on. Okay, so the other thing, am I on the right track with my affirmations? Well, okay, I think you nailed it. Is you said you weren't living from the end. You need to live from the end. Okay, so if I already had what I want, what would my thoughts be? Okay, so basically, intending he misses you isn't living from the end. That's living from the end of him missing you. Okay, so let's start living from the end of him wanting to be with you. Okay, so what are you going to see? What are you going to feel? What are you going to hear? What is going to happen in your reality? What are you guys going to do together? Start focusing on those affirmations and those things there. Okay. So, and yeah, you know what? I love it. You're sending him funny videos on TikTok. I mean, you know what? Pretend like nothing's wrong. Live from the end of nothing's wrong. Every time you send a text, intend he texts you back. Intend he drops everything and texts you back. Okay, guys. So, you know what? It's like you're living from the end of nothing is wrong. I mean, if you guys were in a relationship, would you not text him? Yeah, of course you would, right? And would you not think, yeah, he's going to text me back? Of course you would. Okay. So, you want to live from the end with your thoughts as well as your actions, right? What would you be doing if you guys were in a relationship? Would you be worried that he doesn't want to be with you? No, you'd be thinking he wants to be with you. Okay. So, even more above your actions, you have to live from the end in your head that they want to be with you. Okay. So, not questioning how they feel about you, right? Actually, stating what they feel about you. So, really what I suggest, and I do suggest this for everybody, is start writing out a list of what do you want people to think about you? What do you want him to think about you? What do you want the world to think about you? I bet you anything, your best friend that you were best friends here with since toddlers, you can tell me right now in a second what she thinks about you. Okay. Now, it's not because she thinks that, it's because you created her to think that. Okay. So you want to be that sure with everybody in your life, especially him. Okay. I'll tell you what people think about me. I know exactly what people think about me because I create what people think about me. Okay. So, sit down, put some time into actually sorting out what you want people to think about you. Okay. And you can focus on people in general. So, like, for instance, I mean, on the YouTube channel, I focus on what I want the world to think about me. But then, specifically with Andrew, I focus on what I want him specifically to think about me. Right. So, those are some different levels that you can sort this out. Okay. So we have another question here. It's Teen's question. And Teen's question is, so 36 minutes, and we've got Teen's question here. So 36 minutes. Yes, Claudia, confidence, confidence. Confidence for sure. Love it. Hi, Claudia. So jealousy, how do I overcome a lifetime of jealousy, inferiority, and superiority? Example, my husband's working from home. I'm jealous of his success, his coworkers. There's a man in my neighborhood who fell head over heels with me decades ago. He risked his own marriage, being a devoted friend forever. His wife is honestly nothing to get excited about, and I don't even like him that much, but I'm jealous of his wife. If she died, I wouldn't even date him. I laugh at myself for the stupidity, but it comes up over and over again with almost everyone. Even you, you're so popular and successful, yet I love you. Then I'm like, she's got everything I want. Help. Okay, I get this. I get this. Okay, so the really important thing here, okay, is when you see what other people have, you have to start saying, they have that, and I'm going to have that. I want that, and I can get that. Okay, you've got to stop looking at it like you can't have it. I get it. I used to do that all the time. I used to be totally upset at everybody that had everything. I did, why did they get that? Why not me? And then finally I was like, no, you know what? I'm like, this is my reality. And like, they can have it. I intend for that to happen for me. I intend to have that too. And then I started saying, wow, well, I'm congratulated. If they can have that mansion, so can I. I intend to get that mansion too. So I basically started using other people's lives. Instead of being jealous of it, I started using it as a catalog for me to order stuff in my own reality. It's like, oh my goodness, look at that car. Great idea. I intend to have two of those, right? So, it's just about taking a look and just fighting the thoughts. Like, you've really got to fight the thoughts, okay? The other thing is start creating that you're good enough and you deserve it. Okay, like seriously, you're allowed to be good enough to have things that you want, okay? Well, so try that for a while. Instead of being jealous, thinking that they have something you can't have, use it as an order guide. Like, I'll tell you, when I started doing that, I felt a huge shift immediately. I was like, well, that feels good. And then when things started showing up that I was doing that with, I was like, oh, that's crazy, So, yeah, so yeah, I mean, and the thing is, right, is, you know, yeah, you don't have to, it comes down to some self love being that you're good enough to have everything that you absolutely want, and that you're not the exception, that you are the rule, that you are going to get it, that it's your turn and it's happening now. And basically having the mindset, if somebody else can have it, I can have it. Okay, because being jealous over things, it's like, we don't get anything. But when you look at something and you say, wow, so and so's got that. I want that too. I'm going to get it because thanks. That's a great idea. I'm going to create that too. Like, awesome. Okay. So looking at people having things, meaning that it's not that you can't have it, you can have it. And now they've just made you aware that it's possible. So take a look at it that way. There's abundance in the world. Okay. There's seriously abundance. There's no lack. But if we're going to look at things like there's not enough and there's scarcity, then yeah, you know what? Then yeah, jealousy is going to come. But just because you have $1 billion doesn't mean I can't. Just because I'm popular doesn't mean you can be. We all can be in your reality. It's your reality. So start using it as an order guide and start saying some nice things to yourself. But I totally get it. It's going to take some work in your thinking to overcome the jealousy, because being jealous is a thought process. Okay. So, but I know you can do it, because when I was younger, I used to be jealous of a lot of things too. So I believe in you and I intend it's going to happen. Okay. So we're at 39 minutes and 40 seconds. And we have Denise's question. What do you think of affirmations? Like, why am I so loved? Why is he contacting me so much? Okay, so yeah, I mean, they're okay. However, I would again steer clear of questioning, just because our thinking is a habit. And if we're in the habit of questioning, then it's so easy to go down the rabbit hole of questioning, why things aren't happening. But the affirmations, like, why am I so loved? You're really saying, I'm so loved, right? But why not just outright declare it? I'm loved. Okay. Because if we're in the habit of asking questions, maybe too easy to go down the rabbit hole of questioning other things. And questioning can be a block if it's not in the correct context. Okay. But if it's working for you, do it. Um, yeah, good question. So 40 minutes and 22 seconds. So 40 minutes and 22 seconds is the question. So we've got here. Hi, I have, this is JM's question. I have been intending my specific person contacts me daily. He does, but it's him forwarding news articles and not a conversation. Okay, I'm laughing because I manifested that once from a guy, okay? It's like, why can't you just ask me how I'm doing? I don't care what's on CNN, but whatever. Um, how do I change this so we actually have an amazing long hour conversation? Okay, I've been consistent for the past 8 months, but now I get discouraged at the time frame. In short, how do I speed up the full manifestation of reconciliation with my SP? Okay, so again, I can't tell you what your blocks are, because I don't know without sitting down and having a conversation with you. So just to be straight up, okay, so how you find out your blocks is, your thoughts create. Okay, so some thoughts that you're having somewhere are blocking this. Okay, so you need to do the list to dump out all your thoughts to figure out what thoughts going on. Now, I'm going to assume, and I mean, this may be right, this may not be right, is that, you might be attached to the actual outcome. Okay. So I'm going to share with you what I did. Okay. Was every time, basically my SP sent me a news article. Okay. I would look at it and I'd be like, oh, you know what? I'm like, he's probably sending that because he wants to start a conversation. And then I would just assume he wanted to start a conversation. And then I would be the one that started the conversation. I'd be like, so yeah, that's really interesting. I'm like, wow, look at that. And then I would just intend that the conversation is striked up from there and moves on to a subject that I want to talk about. Okay. So you've got to assume that they're sending you those news articles because they're actually wanting to start a conversation with you and they just maybe don't know how. Okay. Your assumption has to be in line with your end result, which is you want them to have, amazing long conversations. Okay. So view them as conversation starters. The second thing is I needed to detach. Okay. So I couldn't, okay. So basically what I was doing was I was making the fact that he was sending news articles mean that he was rejecting me. Okay. And I was frustrated and annoyed because I wanted, the really long conversations and the interest in me, but I was basically attached to it because I needed that to feel like he wanted to be with me. Okay. So as soon as I shifted into, no, you know what? He does want to be with me. That's why he's sending these news articles. And they're because he wants to strike up a conversation with me. They're conversation starters. As soon as I started telling that story, that's when things manifested. Okay. So again, that's what I would do to speed up the manifestation. But I mean, how you speed up your manifestation is you're going to have to start identifying your blocks and you're going to have to start changing them because, like I said, your thoughts create. So you're creating some thoughts that are creating a block here. Okay. So we'll want to take a look at your assumptions. Okay. So again, how you would find them is your end goal is to be with your specific person, have these great conversations. What thoughts are you having that are blocking that? Okay. So basically a thought like, well, he never wants to have a conversation with me. That thought would need to be changed because that thought is not supporting the assumption of having that conversation. Okay. So I intend that helps. Okay. So 44 minutes in, we've got Stephanie Ann's question. 44 minutes. Okay. So thank you again for all that you do. You're welcome. I enjoy doing it. I enjoy, hearing people actually be successful. Yeah, I mean, I figured out how to do it, and I want to share that with everybody because it's everybody can be, and that's the mission in the world. Me and my team is to help each and every one of you guys, be successful and have what you want because really, you're limitless. You can be, do, and have anything you want in this world. And yeah, every day, we we create that. And yeah, we intend that. So, we do our best. Thank you. We appreciate you guys too. So, yes, this really is a basic concept and everybody is doing it right. You're right. Last week, I asked about the friend who ghosted me. Walk me through the process of having friends return, specifically friendships that I walked away from because at the time I noticed these people were treating me just horrible. Okay. Well, I mean, yeah. So, how I can share with you how I got people back in my life. Okay. What's the process is going to be a bit different for everybody but I'll give you the outline of it. Okay. Is you've got to let go of the past and accept that you've created them to treat you that way that they did, or you have to, revise it in some way that gives them the benefit of the doubt where you're able to forgive and forget and to start fresh with the person. Okay. That's basically the gist of what you want to go with. So I remember there was one person that I created to treat me so horribly. In fact, somebody pointed it out. They're like, wow, so and so is really mean to you. And they were like, you just sit there and take it. And I'm like, I know. I'm like, I created it. I'm like, it's a mess. I'm like, I know. So finally, one day, I got sick of it. I was like, no, you know what? As of right now, I'm like, I'm going to change this relationship around. As of right now, me and so, we are going to get along. And then, you know what? I realized that, that their previous behavior where they were mean to me, that maybe I wasn't, I was misunderstanding. Basically this person had some health problems and they weren't feeling so good. So then I was like, well, you know what? Maybe they weren't actually mean to me personally. Maybe they just weren't in a good mood because they weren't feeling good. Then I was like, okay, well, I can accept that. Like, that's no big deal. I can forgive that. So then once I changed my perception on their actions at the time, I turned around and I was like, yeah, no problem. So then I started focusing on what I wanted because now I let go of the hurt, the pain, and everything from their actual, from them. Okay. So that's basically what I did. I remember that, back years ago, I had this friend and, we were really good friends, but then they basically started like partying too much. And then they started getting really mean and nasty to me. And so then I cut off our friendship, right? But I mean, obviously I created that. But then I was like, for me, I forgive them by going, okay, I get it. They were just, having a rough time in their life and, going down, hanging with the wrong crowd, and they've changed their life around, and, they're sorry for it. And then, they've shifted because of that, so basically don't take things personally. Okay. So someone may have treated you horribly. The big secret here to recreating them and, getting a friendship back and having a good friendship is to stop taking what their actions personally. Okay. So maybe they were treating you just horrible because there was something going on in their life and they didn't mean to take it out on you. Okay. So you take a look and revise your situation as such, right? So again, what needs to be revised and how you're going to change your perception on the situation really depends on what's believable to you and what the situation was. Okay. So again, though, without actually sitting down and talking with you, I can't, navigate through that. However, that's the gist of it, okay, is to let go of the past hurt, revise it, forgive them, start fresh, okay? So as you stated, 0 questions, yes. And now you have a question. Well, these questions are okay. There's been a time when, has there been a time when you felt 100% confident, 0 questions, and the manifestation never showed up? I really don't see how it could be possible for it not to show. No, because I don't ever give up on my intentions. Now, I'll tell you, some of my intentions took 3 years to show up. Why? I don't know. They did, but I never gave up on them. Okay, so I'm going to ask, at what point are you giving up on your manifestation? If you're 100% confident it's going to show up with 0 doubt, 0 question, then why are we even giving up on it? Okay, if we notice it's not here, we say it's going to happen. It's going to happen now. I can tell you, I know why some things took 3 years, because it was a process for me to get myself out of the way. Okay. But I mean, we can never give up on our manifestations. And if we're 100% confident, then, it is going to show up. So I'm going to, say, look, you can't be 100% on your thoughts and then not have it show up. That's a violation of the law of quantum physics. That's absolutely impossible. Okay, so something was going on there. Maybe you decided it wasn't coming just before it was going to come. That's always possible. That's a common thing that happens. Okay, and like I said, when you notice it isn't coming, you intend it again. Okay, so I have been recognizing now the people in my life that reveal my blocks to me. Yeah, the people in your life will, absolutely. I'm glad you've seen that huge breakthrough. I love it. It's quite entertaining. I know, right? It's crazy. For instance, my friend said, "Oh, you're selling that BS in a bag. None of that stuff works. It's a scam." Well, thank you for that revelation. Yeah, I'm sorry. I had that too. It's crazy. I immediately changed my mental diet to push those types of beliefs out, thoughts. No, exactly. You got to just say, you know what? So first of all, you either created that person to not believe in it. That doesn't necessarily mean that you don't believe in it. You just don't think that they believe in it. Okay. Or if you don't have opinion of them either way believing in it, then they're picking up on your thought. Okay. So either way, right? I intend for them to believe in law of attraction, and I intend for, for everyone to think that the law of attraction works. I mean, at the very basis of this, let's just be honest, right, is it's just positive thinking. And, we've all heard of the power of positive thinking throughout our life. Okay. So this isn't something new. The power of positive thinking is all the way back to the Bible. It's something that's there, and now it's actually proven in quantum physics. Okay, so there's like PBS station, science, I think, anyways, but they talk about quantum physics and how quantum physics works with our thoughts and how our thoughts create at that tiny scale. Okay, so now it's actually based on science. Yeah, but you know what? People will reveal your blocks. Okay, so now, for instance, your mom may not reveal your block about your specific person, but your specific person will 100% tell you what you projected on them. Okay, so because your mom, she may think she may say, well, you know what, he's just not good for you. Or, you know what, and he probably doesn't want a relationship. Now, that may or may not be the block that you projected on that specific person, depending on what your story with your mom is. Okay. So not everybody can tell you what your blocks are, because you may just create that person's negative. Now, just because you create that person's negative doesn't mean that everything they say is one of your blocks. You've just created them as negative. Okay. Do you know what I'm saying? So If you wanted a specific person in your life and you said, hey, buddy, why don't you want to be with me? And he tells you, that's the block you projected on them. But can anybody else in your reality tell you what your block is with that person? No, not for sure 100% unless you intend that they do. Okay. But then you've still got whatever story that you've projected on them. Maybe they have a negative outlook on relationships. Okay. Well, they're not going to tell you their block. They're just going to be negative because that assumption has to be fulfilled. Okay. So be careful. Not everybody is running around telling you what your blocks are. People are just reflecting back what your assumptions are about them, your assumptions about life are, and they may not specifically be able to give you any sort of guidance on what your blocks are with somebody else. Okay. So 53 minutes. Welcome to the wonderful world of everyone as you pushed out. So let's take a look here. 53 minutes. We've got Selena's question. Okay, so hi Amanda, I hope you're doing. I'm doing well, thank you. Thanks for all the useful tips in the previous videos. You're welcome. I've completely dropped trying to do visualization or stats, but I'm curious to know if my mind will know who I'm referring to. Absolutely, yeah. You know who you're referring to. It's your mind, right? So when you say that person's name, you know a picture of them is going to come up. Okay. So this whole visualization techniques make me scared and worried that literally every LOA teacher out there emphasizes that it's the most important step. Okay, so every thought that you have actually creates a visualization in your mind, okay? So if you were to say, wealth, success, like when I say wealth, I picture a bunch of coins and Scrooge McDuck floating through it. When I say success, I visualize a runner going through that finish line and breaking that tape. So every single word that you have actually creates a visualization in your mind because your subconscious mind only sees in pictures, period. So you are forced to visualize, okay? I personally don't do stats or visualize, and I do get everything I want, okay? Because I'm on a strict mental diet. At the end of the day, your thoughts create. Okay, I used to do sats and visualization, and what would happen is basically I would do it, and then I would think negative all day, and I wouldn't get anything. Okay, so I realized really quick that sure, sats is good. You can do it. It'll help. It's not going to hurt anything, but you have to do a good mental diet. Okay, so will just my thoughts and a strong mental diet be enough to create anything and everything with the belief that the and persistence in? Yeah, absolutely. Also, I wanted to know if people have absolutely no amount of free will. No, zero. They've got none. It's your reality. This is your quantum bubble. Okay. So you sure they may have a reality somewhere. They may have their own consciousness somewhere, but that's nothing to do with you. Okay. So it's 100% your reality. It's always been. Okay. Because sometimes when I state my intentions and dwell on my new assumptions, I end up wondering if my SP is resisting his thoughts about me and putting his attention somewhere else. Okay, so you're creating that if you're thinking that. Okay, so if you're thinking that, then he is resisting the thoughts and he is putting his attention on someone else. So you have to create what he's thinking. Okay, so more focus on that. I know it's silly of me to assume that he resists or distracts himself when he thinks about me, but I always find out through my friends that he's just hitting on other women, even when I'm clearly affirming that I'm the only woman that he's interested in. Okay, so that makes me think that he's resisting his thoughts about me. Okay, so you're creating him resisting the thoughts about you. You're creating him hitting on other women. Okay, so you've got to just focus on what you want and ignore your 3D reality. Okay. So I'm curious. No, I mean, nobody can resist anything. Nobody has a choice. No free will. So, basically there's no free will whatsoever. What I would suggest, okay, so again, for coming up with some really good intentions for you, again, it all is going to depend on what your actual doubts are and what your thoughts are, okay? So how you would come up with some really powerful intentions is you would go through, list all your complaints of why you think he's not with you, why the third party's there, da 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 da, like, why do you think that he's resisting you and wants to be with somebody else, I would suppose some of it's be not feeling like you're good enough. I don't know, maybe weights or whatever the case is, right? And once you find all those, you change them into positive intentions, because the most powerful intentions that you can create are the exact opposite of your doubts and your fears. Okay. So for instance, if one of my thoughts is, oh, he doesn't like me because I'm too fat. Okay. So me saying, I'm good enough and he wants to be with me isn't going to be enough, because I still have the thought that maybe I'm too fat. Okay, so I'm going to have to say he loves my body the way I am and I feel good about my weight and he does want to be with me. So that's how you would find some powerful intentions. So without sitting down and chatting with you and finding out what all those doubtful thoughts are, it's hard for me to come up with really powerful intentions for you. But the one thing, right, that I will suggest that everybody to do, okay, is to do a list of everyone as you pushed out manifestations. Like really go out there and test it, okay? Test it. And 10 people, comment certain things on your Facebook, and 10 X amount of people like your post on Instagram. Like really go out there and create people doing and saying things that will show you that you are creating everything in your reality. Say things. I see that everyone is me pushed out. I understand how everyone is you pushed out works. And really take a look into, building your belief in everyone as you pushed out, because I'll be honest, that's a big part of having belief in yourself. So keep doing that little bit of intention. So, I would have zero doubt that, I say, well, I intend for so-and-so to like me because I'm good enough and for them to ask me out. I've got zero doubt because I have zero doubt that everyone is me pushed out. Okay. So what I'm getting from what your question is there's a lot of doubting if everyone is you pushed out is real. So start intending that you see proof that everyone is you pushed out on a minute to minute, day to day basis. Okay. So you want to take a look at that. If you do want us to help you with some powerful intentions, we do suggest that you check into the one-on-one coaching, because we need to sit down and hear your story, okay, and have a chat with you if you want us to create any action plan or specific intentions for you. Okay. So you go on to say here that I keep affirming that my specific person misses me and thinks about me all the time. He wants me so badly. He wants to express his love, etc., but I'm not seeing any movement in reality. I can't reach out as well because I'm blocked everywhere. If thoughts are meant to create, why is there no movement in my area of manifestation? I'm very sure that these intentions would overcome my old belief, but that he doesn't want to talk to me. And I was hoping to see a small change in my reality, like a text at least. I've manifested other things effortlessly, but I repeat these intentions like way too many times and I still see no changes. Again, so I can't tell you what your blocks are. We need to sit down and have a conversation with you to find out your blocks, okay? But there is something blocking you here, and it sounds like you've got a story that he's rejecting you, because when somebody blocks you, that's how it manifests, is when, rejection manifests in someone blocking you and not wanting to talk to you, okay? So, again, what I would suggest is, is getting more evidence of everyone as you pushed out. Now, you do say that you are creating in other areas of your life. So it may just be the story with him, that you've got a story with him, because if you're able to manifest in other areas of your life, then you may not have, any sort of core story that this doesn't work, or, da 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 da, right? So it may just be your story about him and questioning whether he wants to be with you or not. Okay. So, maybe start with changing your story about him and really focusing on how you're good enough to have him want to be with you. Okay. But again, how you find your blocks is you would write down all your complaints about him, about the situation, about what you think he's thinking, everything, your questions, and then you take them, cross them out, change them into positive intentions, focus on those intentions, add them to your mental diet. Okay. And, again, though, if you want us to find your blocks, we do need to sit down and have a conversation with you to find out where those are. Okay. So we've got Ryan's questions at 1 hour here. So Ryan, what's your question? So 1 hour. Let's take a look. Ryan. Hey, Amanda, I started to implement the mental diet from your last video. Excellent. But I think my issue is that I was saying them while feeling fearful and anxious. But okay. Yep. Gotcha. Part of me feels uncertain as to whether this self-love thing and thinking positive actually works. Okay. So from the last question that I just said, definitely start to do a list every day to build your belief in it. I start telling myself the positive outcome, but I still feel like a lie. The good news is she actually messaged me the other night asking how I was doing and hoping that me and my family are doing well. Nice. She told me she really misses me and wants to hang out. Oh my goodness. So we're going to go hang out on Tuesday. Yes, that's today. Oh, yay. Okay. It was going great, but then something contrary showed up and it was terrible. She temporarily had a profile pic of her and this other guy hugging, hands around the waist, and I was repulsed and mortified. Now I am a 99% sure it was her. It was posted under her memories, probably her ex-childhood friend. However, she is single. I started to tell myself that I created this and I took ownership, but the anxiety and pain would keep coming back. I couldn't stop thinking of how awful the story of how she is still in love with her ex and he also loves her. I had an emotional breakdown in my car. Oh my goodness, big hug. I know. I was just so distraught. I was broken. I remember my SP telling me that she wants to remove him from his heart and that she wants to have a fresh start with me. I'm trying to stay strong and prevent from breaking down and building faith. I'm trying to create little random things, but they don't always show up and I don't always feel like I'm in control. I was even intending that the other guy found someone better, but I don't want to create the story of being only chosen because I'm second best option. Okay. I still have this anxiety and being eating less. I don't have any mental anxiety disorder. It's only around her because part of me wants to let go of the history, but my ego doesn't want to. I was trying to tell myself that the image was probably her friend or cousin, but then felt like I was just resisting what I saw. My SP is a true sweetheart and she brings me joy. The thing that brings me pain is just seeing that picture of her ex. I feel like the only reason she is with me is because she can't be with that other guy in Afghanistan. I want her to fall out of love with that other person and fall in love with me. I've been saying that she's over her fears and baggage. She loves me and I'm claimed by her. She feels like she's known me for 1,000 years, but I can't get rid of the anxiety and pain. And every time she texts me immediately, I feel a surge of despair, like she's going to tell me that he's coming back and she can't be with me, even though she told me she would never hurt me again. She's my baby and I love her so much, but I want to let go of the fear, release negative judgment, and relax into knowing that all this is working out no matter what. Thankfully, she changed her profile picture. Good. But I'm still afraid that sometimes I feel like my mind just wants to curl up into a ball because it's still uncertain whether this stuff actually works. Sorry for the long post. How can I get back on track, let go of the anxiety and fear associated with this relationship? Well, uh, that's the thing, is you keep intending and you keep creating those little things and you do it with the feeling and the thoughts that this works and I'm learning how to use my magic wand, right? Rather than trying to find evidence that it's not working or evidence that you're failing. I mean, anxiety and your emotions are basically a manifestation of your thoughts. Okay, so feelings are a physical manifestation of your thoughts. So how do you get past and let go of the fear and the anxiety? Is you start intercepting those thoughts, you start creating new thoughts. Okay, and you stop going down those thoughts. Okay, so if I was to think right now like, oh, Gerry doesn't want to be with me, yeah, that makes me feel like, ugh, I don't like that feeling. But if I say Gerry loves me, that actually makes me feel good. Okay, so it's going to take discipline. Okay, it's going to take getting to those thoughts and just start switching them over. What are the thoughts that are giving you anxiety? Get clear on those thoughts, change those thoughts into positive intentions. When you start feeling anxiety, you have to really, really, really seriously fight it. You have to fight it. You have to start telling yourself nice things. Okay, it's basically like, how would you say it? It's like building a muscle. Okay, so every time you have a thought, creates a neural pathway, Now, neural pathways that have been created, okay, they just fire automatically. All of a sudden, you get a text, you associate, disappointment with that. All of a sudden, boom, 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 fire, fire, fire. All these thoughts, you don't even hear them. Boom, instant anxiety. Okay, because you're triggered by it. Okay, so then what you got to do is every time that happens, you have to intercept it. Every time you intercept it, you physically take those neurons and you rewire them. Okay, there's no other way to do it. You have to rewire your thinking. How do you rewire your thinking? You break your habit, you interrupt the pattern. Okay, so when you start to feel that anxiety, you've got to get back on top of your thoughts. So you've got to sit down, you've got to write down all the thoughts that are giving you anxiety, change them over to positive intentions, have them around somewhere. When you all of a sudden start to get triggered and you have that anxiety show up and you're not even sure what thoughts have created it, start reading those intentions, start with those, and then keep reading intentions until it goes away. There's been many times that I've had a feeling and I'm like, what's that feeling? It's negative. I don't like it. It's anxiety, but I can't figure out where it's from. So then I just start saying intentions, and I know one of them will get rid of it at some point. Even saying, I intend to feel good when I think about her. I intend to let go of the past. I intend to feel like I'm good enough and worthy for this relationship. Okay, so start digging in a little bit on it. But I mean, you've got to talk yourself out of the fear and the anxiety. And you may need to get real with yourself of where it is coming from. Okay, because there's some thoughts that are causing it, and you need to know what they are to switch this around. Okay, I know you can do it. I do believe in you. I definitely do. So 106, we've got it. 106 here, we've got Danielle's question. Well, let's take a look. So I'm manifesting getting my SP back for good and bettering our relationship. Love it. There's no one else I want in the world. However, I'm wondering, while I'm manifesting him back, would me speaking to other guys get in the way of this? No, I don't think so. If you think it will, it will. If you don't think it will, it won't. I know everyone is me pushed out. So if I'm entertaining other people, does that mean he will? Well, no, you can intend that, you know what, he wants to be with you, and you can, you know, talk to and be with whoever you want. People can do that. It's your reality. So just because you're doing something doesn't mean that he's going to do it. Okay. Because you create what he is through your assumptions. Okay. So just because, you know, for instance, right, this is probably not a good example, but no, this is a good example. Okay. So let's say Gerry and his girlfriend. Okay. But okay, let's say me and Gerry. Okay. I'm with Gerry. Okay. And I basically go out and cheat on Gerry. Does that mean Gerry's cheating on me? No, because he's me pushed out. No, because I can intend that Gerry's faithful to me and puts up with me, and I can go and cheat on him all I want. Like, you know what I mean? So just because you do something doesn't mean somebody else is going to do it. Just because somebody else does something doesn't mean that it's your block. So let's say, for instance, Gerry's a liar and he's always lying to me. Now, does that mean that I have a block? I'm a liar? No, not at all. I just projected the assumption onto Gerry that he's a liar. Okay. So you can create, he'll do whatever you want him to do and whatever you intend him to do. Okay. So I just want to know if this will mess with my end result. Well, again, like, it's all depending on your thinking. If you think it's going to end with your end result, it will. If you don't think it will, it won't. Like, I mean, let's look how a relationship is built. Okay. So you meet somebody and you start dating. Normally when you two first start dating, you both are dating other people. And if you guys aren't dating other people, then, you know, it's pretty normal. And then when you decide, okay, well, I want to get serious with this person, then you stop dating other people and then you start getting into a serious relationship with them and only them. But don't get me wrong. I mean, you know what? Some people out there have got polyamorous relationships and they date multiple people, like whatever. So whatever you want to create that you can have, because you create what the other person thinks and what they're going to do and what they're going to put up with, and you create who you want to be, and you've got to create that they, you know, want to be with you, for, you know, and no matter how you are. Do you get what I'm saying? So, I mean, personally, I've always dated multiple people before I've gone to a serious relationship. I personally have always ended all the relationships with the other people when I've decided to be serious with one person. Okay, because if I'm going to be in a serious committed relationship, then I'm going to intend that they want to be with me and only me, and I'm going to be with them and only them. But before that happens, I mean, if I'm only dating, then yeah, why not? I'm living from the end of dating. So why not date more than one person? There's nothing wrong with that. But then intend that, the person that you're manifesting, you're dating them with the assumption it's going to lead into a serious relationship. And when it does make that step and you're ready to make that step into the serious relationship, depending on what your moral values are, you can, stop dating the other people or continue dating the other people. It's up to you. You decide if it's going to wreck it or not, because it depends what end you're coming from, right? So the next question is, 1 hour and 10 minutes. So 1 hour and 10 minutes here. We've got this question. It is oh shoot, is this right? Yeah. So 1 hour and 10 minutes in. Is it 1 hour and 10 minutes, really? Yeah, it is. Okay. 1 hour and 10 minutes. Okay, so here's this question we've got. So my ex broke up with me about 3 months ago after almost a year of being in a relationship together. He has met someone and left me for a new girl. I begged and pleased, which I now regret. After learning about the law of attraction, I realized that my insecurities and negative thoughts has caused this because everyone is you pushed out. Some of our problems in the relationship was jealousy, social media, he would follow a lot of girls, which I didn't like, feeling that he wanted other women, him not wanting to stress and always putting his schoolwork above the relationship and constantly breaking up and getting back together. Sometimes I would hold my emotions in because I knew that he didn't want to stress over it. And I would just keep those thoughts in my head to avoid a fight or breakup. After accepting the breakup and forgiving myself, I quickly put law of attraction into action. He reached out a couple of times and apologized, and he says that I hope we can still be friends. He asked if I was seeing anyone, and I said yes to him getting jealous, though I really wasn't. I was very short and distant with him, and sometimes not even respond because I wanted him to chase me. Okay. Okay. I know that my attitude towards him was out of fear and anger. Thank you. I was just about to say that. So I didn't intend contact for a while. I started to do a lot of meditation intention and adapted a new mental diet. I keep intending that he loves me, only me, and his current relationship is over and the third party moves on to someone better. After a couple of weeks of silence and trying to manifest a text or a call from him, especially on my birthday, I had no success. Whenever I would feel discouraged, I would have negative beliefs that this will never work, and I would quickly change it. I feel that I'm starting to get better at it because some days I feel like he truly loves me, but there's some days when I feel the lack. However, after watching a couple of your videos, I decided to live in the end and not be afraid to message him. Good job. I sent him happy Easter text, awesome, and luckily he responded. No, you created that. No such thing as luck, right? He told me that he hopes I'm doing well, that he is now single, and realized I'm not ready to be in a relationship. It was nice and said that I was happy for him and I hope things come his way. He asked if I would ever want to hang out once quarantine is over, and I said yes. Oh my goodness, this is awesome. However, I'm struggling with overthinking. Now I'm intending that he doesn't get back together with a third party, unblocks me on Facebook. I don't know what LG is, but okay. I intend that he unblocks you everywhere too. That he's the one to chase me. Good. Yeah. Devoted to you and wants to be in a relationship and treat you like a priority. I intend that too. What is your advice on what actions to take next? I'm constantly struggling on trying to manifest a text or a call, but it still doesn't come my way. I keep changing the story by saying he wants to text me. He's thinking about me right now. He is nervous to send a message, but he's still nothing to get sad, what messages doesn't come through. Okay, so we're making messages, the lack of messages mean rejection. So we've got to detach from that, right? So I want him to chase me. I had a coaching session with Denise, and she's amazing. She advised me to work on my self-love and changing the story, which I did. And that's when he broke up with the third party. What? Amazing. I'm not shocked, actually. Denise is really good at that. That's really awesome. Woohoo! Kudos, Denise. I've been making a list of the best version of me, and I'm proud of you for getting rid of the third party too. Him and our ideal relationship together, which really helps me feel loved and hopeful. I'm looking forward to our next session, but I want some tips until then. Okay, so it's hard for me to give advice on the next action that you're going to take without actually sitting down and talking with you, because when it comes to taking action, it's really our thoughts behind the action. Okay, so I'm going to just, one example is in what you said here was that you sent him a text, happy Easter, and he responded right away. You created that, okay? Because behind your mind, you were like, no, I'm changing the story. There's nothing wrong. He does want to be with me. And then you took the action, and then boom, it showed back up. Okay, great. Love it, love it, love it. Now, the thing is, though, is, if you had, took an action with the thought that he was going to reject you and that story, then he wouldn't have messaged you back, and you were just setting yourself up for failure. Okay, so ultimately, right? What actions, I suggest is, taking a look from the end. Okay. So if we were already together, how would I act? What would my actions be? What would I intend from him? What would be going on here? Okay. Now, I always suggest, okay, no matter what you create, okay, always create that you've got a lot of supporting material. Okay. So basically, okay, so let's say I'm intending for Gerry to say, ask me out on a date or want to get back together with me. I would start intending that he's like always on my Facebook commenting, that he's constantly texting me, that he likes all of my stories on Instagram, that he's basically stalking me. I would start creating all these little things that will give me evidence and make me feel like he wants to be with me. Okay, do you see what I'm saying? So I would create more than just one intention. It would be like a sum total of intentions. Okay, if I had what I had right now, Right. So, I mean, always start where, you take and you build up to what you actually want to get. Okay. So, I mean, what actions should you take? I mean, just pretend nothing's wrong. It come from he wants to be with me. Right. And when you're in that mindset, yeah, text him away. Here's a funny joke. How are you doing? What's life like today? But I think the most important thing here is to stop making the lack of mean rejection. Okay. I'm going to buzz down to your next question here because I know that you put it here as well. So this question is, let me just take a look. So 116. So your other question, because I think this comes into a lot of it, 1 hour and 16 minutes. And so your next question here is, how much can you change of a person? Can you make someone become obsessed with you and chase you in a healthy way? If a relationship ended badly, how do you get them back while still having respect and dignity? Okay, so you know what? You can change everything about a person, but what I really think that needs to happen, and you may want to chat with Denise about, is revising the breakup. Like seriously revising it. Like revise that breakup. Okay, because somehow, like, how are you, how are you not having respect and dignity for yourself by forgiving somebody and getting back together with somebody? There's a story there, and that story needs to be broken down and that needs to be changed. Okay. Because, I've never looked at forgiving somebody as not respecting myself and having dignity for myself. So, I mean, what happened there and what's the story, and how can we change that to forgive everybody involved? Because ultimately, you created, however, the breakup happened, you created it. Okay. So, you want to revise that. There's a story there, and you want to get to the root of that. So revision of that breakup is going to be a big key part of this, but you can change everything about a person. Me and Denise actually just did a video about what you can change about people with Everyone Is You Pushed Out. That's going to post on Sunday and within the week anyway. But yeah, you can absolutely have anybody chase you and be obsessed with you in a good way. Okay. So awesome. Okay, we've got Sarah's question. Okay, so we're at 1 hour and 18 minutes. 1 hour and 18 minutes. 1 hour and 18 minutes. Excellent question today, guys. Like really good questions. What can I do about really overwhelming resistance coming up over and over? I release my resistance and I feel better. Then an hour later, it comes back and the resistance is really overwhelming and makes me very sad and anxious. Okay, so resistance is thoughts. Okay, so what thoughts are you having that are coming in? So wherever those thoughts are coming from, we may want to revise that situation that's creating those thoughts. Okay, so like a really good example of that, like, for instance, let's say, I went to a party, okay, and I drank too much and I had the lampshade on my head and I was like standing on the table, like, basically karaokeing and getting everybody to sing along to a really silly song, like the YMCA or something. Okay, the next day I wake up and I'm like, oh my goodness, everyone must think I'm terrible. They must think I'm such a terrible person. So how would I revise that? I would revise it by saying, no, you know what? Everybody was just as drunk as me and I was the life of the party. And of course, everybody's going to invite me back. So you want to revise whatever, is causing these thoughts to come up. Okay. So resistance is very general. So what thoughts are you talking about? Like what's experience? What past history is coming up and overtaking you? Like you've got to be on a mental diet and revise the past to help you get past that. Okay. So it makes me very sad and anxious. Okay. So again, these are some thoughts that we're having that, we're thinking that are pretty hopeless. So we've got to start getting on top of them. So I've been dealing with it for about a week. I'll feel great. And then something with my specific person happens to make me doubt. And I know I'm supposed to shorten the time I emotionally react. So I do my best to admit what I'm resisting to myself and renounce it. This makes me feel better, only for it to come back really quickly afterwards. I'm wondering if there is a way to overcome this doubt and resistance so that I don't have to keep seeing it come up. Due to my resistance, I keep manifesting things and then backtracking and losing progress. It seems impossible not to react to the resistance when it comes up so strongly. It's a vicious cycle. So change your perception on the situation. Change what you're making it mean. That's the only way to stop reacting. Okay, so how you stop reacting? Okay, like for instance, okay, let's say me and Gerry, we're out and we're out having a picnic, and I love picnics. Okay. And then all of a sudden Jerry's like, okay, look at, you know what? I want to go. I don't feel good. He starts getting grumpy. Okay. And then I'm like, oh my goodness, like, why are you grumpy? Right. And all of a sudden, like, I'm taking it personally. Like, he doesn't want to hang out with me anymore because there's something wrong with me. Okay. So yeah, I'm going to emotionally react, and I'm going to be very overwhelmed with resistance and sad and anxious. However, if I change my perception on the situation, I think, okay, well, maybe he's just not feeling good. Okay, then all of a sudden Jerry says, "Well, I'm not feeling good. That's why. Sorry, I don't mean to get mad at you. I'm just not feeling good. But I'm sorry. I know you love picnics. I don't mean to ruin your day. I'm just not feeling good." All of a sudden, I'm like, oh, "Okay, it's not personal. He's just, okay. It's okay. I understand you're not feeling good." Okay, so how can you spin whatever he's doing to give him the benefit of the doubt? Okay, and to not make it mean, something bad about you, or not make it mean that you're not good enough. Okay, so once you realize that their action doesn't have anything to do with your self-worth, that's when you stop reacting. Okay, so take a look, and what are you making his behavior mean? Okay, so for instance, right, like we talked about earlier, the CNN messages, right, making that mean rejection. Well, if we change it and look at it and make it mean that it is actually going to be a conversation starter, then we're no longer reacting. There's nothing that needs to change. Okay. So the same thing, with things that happen in your reality, right? Take a look, somebody sending you one word answer text, right? You can make that mean that they're rejecting you and they don't want to have a conversation. Or you can be like, no, they were just driving. They'll text me more later and ask me how my day was, right? So, once you change it from rejection to change the meaning of it, that's when you will be able to release the resistance. Okay. Do you have any tips for overcoming persistent unwanted thoughts? I also ways not to get upset with yourself for having them. So that's at 1 minute 23. Lisa's question: 1 hour, 23 minutes. We'll leave it at this for a while. It goes so fast, though. I mean, the time's just flying by. Um, yeah, so let's take a look here. So Lisa says, "Do you have any tips for overcoming persistent unwanted thoughts?" Yeah, you know what? Distraction is one thing. The second thing is remind yourself like how powerful you are. I mean, honestly, what I do is I manifest something small, and it reminds me that, yeah, you know what? Everyone is me pushover. My thoughts still create, and that really helps me to snap out of it. And, the other thing that I do is I distract myself. I'll make some intentions and I'll watch a funny movie or I'll play video games. The other thing that I do is I start, focusing on being happy and grateful for what I have right now. That is also a huge help. Okay. So those are some things, and just persistence, and not to beat yourself up for having the negative thoughts. Just, it's okay. Just let them go. It's fine. Just be like, okay, you know what, it happened. Done. You know what I mean? So also intend that I find it easy to think positive. I find it easy to change my thoughts, right? So 1 hour and 24 minutes. So what we've got here is, so I tried to reverse a part of my appearance that I have not had so much resistance on. I choose my head shape and intended for days. I intend for my head shape to look exactly like it used to when I was 24 years old because I'm good enough. I'm so happy and grateful that my head shape looks exactly like it used to when I was 24 years old. I did not really care if it works or not. And after some days, I did somehow embody this intention, and I noticed a change in the mirror, but it was like I had always had this head shape. I don't know if that makes sense. Yeah, it does, because you've basically changed the molecules, the atoms in the world. This is how it works. So I embodied it so much that I believe somehow that my head shape was always like it used to be, and now I'm more sure if it has changed. But I feel down these days because my nostrils still change day by day, like a script that is on play. I tried everything and it still gets worse day by day. Okay, so this needs to you're creating that it's getting worse day by day. Okay, I wished it would get worse slowly at least. You said everything will stay the same until we acknowledge or change it. Okay, I acknowledge it in the mirror and I intend for my nostrils to stop getting bigger. This should be enough to stop it, right? I just don't know anymore what to do. It just doesn't make sense to me. Okay, this is Arani's question. So Arani, I'm just going to straight up, okay? I'm going to say right now, I'm going to pretend that I'm the universe, and I'm going to say, so far, what you've asked me to deliver to you is your nostrils to get bigger day by day and nothing to be able to stop it. That's basically what you've just said there. So that has to manifest now. Okay, so what we need to do here is we just need to go, no, you know what? My nostrils are getting smaller and smaller. You've got to keep persisting on this. It's only a problem because you think it's a problem. Okay. So whatever story has created that, with the subliminals and all of that, you've got to shift that story and say, no, you know what? I control my subconscious mind. My nostrils get smaller and smaller every time I look. They're going back to the way they used to be. Okay. You're attached to this. You need to detach from it. I know I'm the creator of my reality. I know this is going to happen. Okay. What other thoughts are in there, that could possibly be adding to this? Not 100% sure. You can find your blocks by writing out the story and then creating your new intentions, like I've mentioned before. But again, just with your story right here is, it looks like you're worrying about it and that you're really attached to it. And we need to detach and we need to put trust that you are going to change it. Things like, I feel like I'm going to be able to make my nostrils smaller. When I read this, I'm really feeling like you feel like it's impossible to do and it's not going to happen. And, and that is what the universe, that's what you're going to manifest. Okay. So you've got to get on top of it and you've got to start, supporting with a mental diet, focusing only on what you want. And, basically, focusing on your nostrils to stop getting bigger. You're only focusing on them getting bigger. What do you want? Okay, so what size do you want them? You want them to get smaller? Focus on them getting smaller. Okay, I hope that helps. I know that's going to help. I intend that that's going to help. So, 1 hour and 27 minutes. Okay, so I've been focused lately on realizing that I'm God in my reality. Oh, this is Jules' question. Okay. Which was a big hurdle for me, especially having been raised in a fairly Catholic household. At first, I think I felt as if it was blasphemy, even though over the years I've strayed from the church. Let's see here. Sorry, guys, one sec. I've strayed from the church into a more spiritual LOA lifestyle. In the past, my beliefs were I could only ask my God and then eventually the universe for my desires. Now that I know I can do it, I'm having difficulty. I've created in the past and know with this knowledge that I can consciously create the life I truly want. But I often find myself questioning if I'm doing it all correctly or doing enough, etc. I know that questioning is delaying it all. I've started to focus more on intentions and I'm the creator of my life. I want to get any suggestions on really feeling and believing it. Okay, so, really feeling it and believing it is practicing it, like going out and practicing it and, seeing, what you actually want to create. Okay. So, going out, doing a list and consciously creating every minute of your day. Okay. And really seeing it in practice and practicing it is going to build your belief. Okay. I can tell you, anyone can tell you, but until you actually go out and do it, then that's when you really believe it because you get the faith and the belief in yourself. Okay. One thing, if you are having a problem, reconciling, creation with religion, then you know what, I would highly recommend reading Neville Goddard because he actually explains the Bible in creation ways. I mean, I grew up in a Christian background, and what I took from going to church was that our thoughts create, and we actually create, and God is us, and that's what I took. Like in Da Vinci, I think it's wherever, the Pristine Chapel, they've got the creation of man, and then there's that picture of the brain, and you've got God in there, and his fingers going out and touching man. That's in a church chapel. Okay, so that's what the Bible teaches, is that we create with our thoughts, and we have that knowledge and that power. So if you want that to help you with that, is definitely read Neville. But to build your belief, okay, and your thoughts and believing this, you want to just go out and practice. I tell you, it's just taken, practice for me to get the belief. Now I believe I can have absolutely anything because I've done it enough. Okay. So, but that wasn't the case years ago, not at all. So you got to go out and try. Okay. So let's take a look here. So we've got Kim's question, and we've got a minute 30 for Kim's question. So 1 hour and 30 minutes. Oh my goodness, Amanda. Nuts. Okay. So I just wanted to thank you and Megan. I'm slowly recreating my story with my SP. And like you said, may I have more tips on how to change the story? Like, do I write intentions and just live in the end from them? I do want to let you know that I love your explanation and you sharing your life with us. Oh, you're welcome. I totally appreciate it. I've been following you and Megan's advice since, and last week I wrote affirmations of what I wanted for my SP. One was to meet his family. So I don't know if this was a bridge of events, but my friends had a small Easter get together. She put me in charge of dessert. I never baked, and for some reason I felt like making these cookies and cheesecake, so I did. I had plans to hang out with my specific person on Saturday. Well, Saturday he phoned and said he wasn't feeling well and that Easter with his family was canceled because his brother was too nervous to see his dad because of the virus. So he was like, "I want to spend Easter together." I said, "Yes." I said, "I'm just worried about your dad. Is it his first Easter without your mom, etc.?" I was like, "I'm supposed to go over with my friends for Easter if you want to come." He said yes, and I said, "Okay, well maybe before we'll go, I can drop off the cookies to your dad and say hi, etc." He was like, "Yes, and let's go by my brother's too." So we did. Funny how some things manifest easily and others don't, like him calling me every day. We had a great Easter. He was like, you know, have met he was like, have met everyone and they all like you and told me that I'm wonderful. Aw. So it seems like everything is falling into place. Thank you. Yeah, it does actually. You're welcome. I love it. Everything is working out. I notice I'm starting to feel like anxious and getting thoughts that something bad will happen to me, which then I get even more anxious because I fear what I fear you attract. Curious if you ever felt that way and how you handled this. I just try to soothe myself and say that I deserve to be happy just like everybody else. You can have it too. And you can have an amazing relationship. Thank you so long. Okay, so I mean, you know what, Kim, it comes down to basically believing that you can have what you want and just staying on the mental diet, talking yourself out of that fear and not freaking out about having that fear, just recognizing it. What's the thought? Oh, it's the thought is, oh, maybe I'm going to lose this. Well, no, my thought's great. Everyone's going to be pushed out. I'm going to keep this. I'm allowed to be happy. It's my turn to be happy. So just staying on your mental diet, just recognizing the fear and then saying, thank you, fear, from coming up. Guess what? I'm going to make some opposite intentions to deal with you, because basically when you make a declaration for something, what ends up happening is your subconscious mind says, oh, guess what, there's a bunch of things that you need to deal with here, right? So like, for instance, it's like when I say, well, I intend to go for a picnic, all of a sudden my brain's going to be like, oh, what are we going to eat, where are we going to go, well, what are we going to do, are we going to play badminton? So, basically that's the same thing when you make a declaration, like, I want a good, healthy relationship. Your brain says, oh, wait a minute, hasn't worked out in the past. Oh, what if he doesn't like us? Like, your brain's just like, can you deal with these, please, so we can have that? So whenever you create a declaration for something, you will see the contrast of what you don't have. Be thankful it's shown up. Start creating some opposite intentions, okay? And yeah, that's how I handle it. I'm like, thank you for showing up. I'm going to change you now. Because if it didn't show up, it would be still living in your subconscious and you would still be creating it. So be happy it showed up and be happy that you get to change it. Okay. Please don't dwell on it, that it's going to wreck anything. Okay. Become aware of it and change it. Okay. So let's take a look at SK's question. So thank you so much for all your great advice. You were so welcome. My daily life is very chaotic and stressful due to my current work situation. I make some intentions around that. Okay. I find myself reacting all day to things that are happening, and maintaining a mental diet is very difficult. I think this is why I'm not making much progress on my manifestations. Do you have a suggestion on how to maintain a mental diet in a chaotic, stressful situation? First of all, you start creating that your situation is calm, it's peaceful, it's organized. Maybe start creating that it's easy for you to do a mental diet, that it's, you create what you want, you always feel good. Okay, so I think those are the things that you want to start focusing on. And it's practice. Doing a mental diet is completely practice. So you want to definitely um, right. So we basically want to start, creating that it's easy to stick to a mental diet no matter what we're going through. I can always stay on top of my thoughts. I remember, I would say to somebody every day, like, I'm so busy, I'm so busy. And then I'd be like, oh, why am I so busy? And then the person was like, well, because you always say you're busy. And I was like, oh, you're right. So then I started saying, okay, you know what? I got plenty of time in the day. I get everything done easily, effortlessly. Everything is easy and graceful. And all of a sudden, it's not even like anything changed. All of a sudden, I had plenty of time. It's so weird. So, just start creating that your situation is calm and what you want, so, and also start saying that it's easy to do a mental diet. Okay. Guys, we've got the last question of the day. You guys are all amazing. So we're at 1 hour and 36 minutes. Okay, so 1 hour and 36 minutes. Okay, so hello, Amanda. I created a third-party situation with my specific person where she got engaged with a guy. Oh boy. After I found this out, I broke them apart, and it took me 2 days of a strict mental diet. Yes, this is legendary question, by the way. But now she seems more distant than ever before. I know I've projected this onto her since she's me pushed out, but how can I intend for her to get over the past and be ready for a relationship with me? Well, sorry, Cersei, right there. I intend for her to be over the past and ready to be in a relationship with me because I'm good enough. That's your main intention right there. And again, right? Are there any blocks in between you and that? I mean, that's a very good question. I mean, take a look, okay? Take a look and see, what other thoughts that you're having, okay? Any other doubts? Because you want to make sure that you shift 99% of those doubts into positive intentions because you really want to start shifting the feeling. But one thing I'm going to say, okay, is if you don't want her to be distant, then don't say her behavior is being distant. Hot and cold, distant behavior comes from your thoughts, okay, because she is you pushed out. So if you see that she's distant, look at it. No, she's not distant. Me and her are closer than ever. In fact, we talk every single day, okay? So, yeah. So, I mean, you did the great intention right there. I mean, but what other things are causing this story of her being distant? Take that story, write it out, change it into positive intentions, create a new story, get every detail of that story into the new story. Okay. And that's definitely going to be able to help you. Oh my goodness, you guys are all amazing. Like, that's awesome. Yeah, so I mean, you guys are all amazing, and yeah, this is great. Sorry, we went a little bit over time, and of course, the messages are going off email, phone. Everyone's like, "Where is she?" It's like, look on the YouTube channel. So, you guys, thank you guys so much for being here, and I hope and I intend that everything here has helped you guys, and I hope that other people's questions can help you to see insight to what you're looking for. Okay. And yeah, and I encourage you guys all to become experts at finding your blocks because, the biggest thing is you can have a block 1 minute and not the next because your thoughts either create a block or resistance, or your thoughts either create the vibration and the alignment to what you want. So, you have 60,000 thoughts a day, right? So to become a master of your thoughts and to become aware of them and to listen to them. And if you can't quite hear what your thoughts are, check into how you feel because your feelings are a manifestation of your thoughts. So if something's not feeling right, then a thought needs to change. Okay. And, sometimes when you've got those things on autopilot that just sort of get triggered and end up in a feeling of anxiety, you just got to start doing intentions so you find the thought that's causing it, or sit down and dump out the story, write it out, see what comes out, okay? And then don't take any one of those complaints for granted, change them all over to positive intentions because one of them will be in there, right? So anyways, guys, thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you for being a part of the Patreon. Pardon me. And yes, we'll see you guys next week, okay? Bye-bye.